Hey there everyone, Robin Rosado here with Top Speed Golf, and today we're going to talk about how to hit your irons pure every time. I've got 3 easy steps for you, 3 things we're going to talk about, how you can get those irons and hit them nice and solid every single time. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so let's go and get started talking about the first part of how to hit your irons solid. And that first part is actually shallowing out the golf club. So let's go and take a look to see what that really means and what I see common with a lot of people. Shallowing out that golf club. We want that club, the first move on our downswing, to move in this direction. So the number one thing I see is a lot of people when they come down is they get a little bit too steep. So I got my trusty alignment stick here. I'm going to place it right here by halfway on my alignment stick and halfway on the club. I'm going to grip it, and on the way down too steep, you would see I'd almost be piercing my foot down on the ground. So that is too steep. So from there, a lot of people, when they get too steep on the way down, they'll either kind of cast the club, and that causes them to hit it a little bit behind them, or adjust to thin it, and then the last second, or right at the last second, like we see a ton of people do, is they'll flip. Well, I can't really do it with this alignment stick. Is they'll flip right through impact. So that's what we need. That's also, if we don't shallow out that club, we get a little bit too steep on the way down, we'll get a little bit too heavy. So we want that club. This is the reason why I have my alignment stick here. It's a good visual aid to see to how we can shallow out that club. I'm going to set up to it like I normally would. And on the way down, for every tour player, when they're shallowing the club, this extension of the butt end of their club is going to be pointed either at the ball or just outside of it. Like I said, I have a tendency sometimes to get too steep. We want that to shallow out early on the way down. We want that butt end of the club to point outside of the golf ball. That's going to square everything up really early in our swing and give us a pretty good chance of hitting it pretty straight and pretty solid. And that's why it's really important for you to shallow the club out early. A couple of things I talk about in videos in the past, how to get that feeling if you didn't have that alignment stick, is to get that right elbow kind of tucking in. You can see where it does. If I just take my right hand here, my right elbow is going to tuck in. You can see it's going to shallow out that club early. Or we can use, if that doesn't work, let's say you don't have the flexibility to do that in your shoulders there, you can take your right hand, and all you're going to do is feel like, I don't know if you remember when I was younger, I had a pro that used to teach me to hold a tray at the top of my golf swing. I'm going to try to, we call that, correct me Clay if I'm wrong, extension on our way down. Yeah, so extension. So on the way down, when our right wrist to feel a little bit of extension, you can see that angle. So I see a lot of people when they're either casting, coming over the top, flipping at it, not really shallowing the golf club too steep, their right wrist on the way down is almost going to create this angle here. So not much extension. We want to create that angle. You can see the top of my right hand is getting closer to my forearm. So that's kind of another way to feel shallowing the golf club if you can't really do it with that right elbow. You can do it with your hands as well. And for me, that works really well. You can see my butt in the club, and now it's going to point outside that golf ball, not getting too steep. So the second part we're going to talk about is actually lag. Why we create lag, the importance of lag, and how that's very important to hitting your irons really solid. Okay, so guys, we just talked about shallowing that club early. So let's go to the progression here, the sister of shallowing out early. So we've shallowed out early, but now we need to create lag. We need to create this angle. We want this angle of the club to sharpen up to our shoulders here, all the way down and through impact. Why do we create lag? Kind of going on what I was saying before as far as shallowing that club. You know, you see a lot of people, they try to hit down on the golf ball. So what do? They get too steep, okay, going back to shallowing the club, but also what they do is throw the club out, kind of casting it, also flipping at it. So there's a lot of manipulation in order to hit it solid there you got to do when you're casting it or flipping it. We want to create this angle, have this angle of lag. You can still see that when I was talking about before as far as that extension of my right wrist, all this lag coming into the golf ball, that angle is sharpening up here. So I got a really good drill for you to feel. I'm gonna feel like my hands are coming in really low. So I'm gonna take my alignment stick here. It's gonna be right here somewhere behind me, about a foot out in front of the golf ball. So here's the golf ball, about a foot out, and about 2 feet behind me. I'm gonna stick that club at an angle. Hopefully I can get it right around 45 degrees, right about there. And what I'm gonna try to do is not only have my hands, that's really being friendly with me, but if I'm gonna really try to have my hands get low below that stick here, if I can get it really aggressive, I can go right here. There we go. So I'm gonna feel my hands get low underneath this stick, and what that's also gonna help me do is shallow out that club early as well. So you're gonna shallow it out and get low. So you can see from this angle right here, how that's forcing me. If I were to cast the club or come over the top, you can see I'm gonna hit this club right here every time. This is actually a drill that I saw Brooks Koepka do a lot. He shallows out that club very well, creates a ton of lag. So he does this here, this is drill. Feels like his hands are coming in nice and low, but I mean by low. So now you're creating this angle here with the club shaft is parallel to the ground with a ton of lag. So you got all this lag here, but now we actually need to talk about releasing the lag. The number one thing I hear the worst part that the pros or teachers do is they teach people to hold on to all this lag. We actually need to release that lag. That is not going to be a very good thing to feel lag, is feeling it all the way through impact. That's creating tension and a lot of other things we don't really want to do. We need to learn how to release all that lag. We've shallowed out all this lag, how to release it, and that's gonna be the third part in this series here. Okay guys, so the third part about this video is now that we've shallowed out the club, we've created a ton of lag, but how do we release the lag? What does it look like at impact after all that lag we've just created? So as I'm stepping into the golf ball here, I've created this great angle, so I shallowed out, created this awesome angle of lag. I'm still getting here to where the club shaft is parallel to the ground. Now, being in mind, I want you to understand, I mean, you still want to rotate your lower body through all of this. Don't forget about that, of what your body is doing as well. I'm just talking about what the path of our hands, what our arms and upper body are really doing. So I've created all this lag. Now, how do I release it? Like I said in the last part with creating lag, I see a lot of people when they work on it, they're trying to hold it off so much so they can really feel like their hands are getting ahead of it. We actually need to allow that club to release on through. So if I'm hitting here, this is my 9-iron right now, so this is about just a fraction above middle of my stance. As I approach the golf ball, all this lag, as my hands begin to approach the golf ball, so right now it's about where my right knee is at, about close to where the golf ball is. As it's starting to approach, you'll notice that my left hand is gonna start to square up. I mean, it's gonna kind of feel like it's bowing out, releasing the club. You can see my club head is starting to square up to the golf ball right now. So as it's approaching the golf ball, right now my hand's right above the ball. My left wrist is starting to bow up, so you can see I still have some lag, but now it's starting to release on through, and now the handle of my club is actually moving in an upward direction, so I'm turning it up. So the feeling I have is actually in my ring finger, my pinky finger, I'm really trying to feel like that's gonna gripping just a fraction tighter than it would be the rest of my fingers. That's gonna kind of move that handle in an upward direction and also allow my left hand to kind of bow out my left wrist, so at an impact, I'm nice, have some good shaft lane. My left wrist is slightly bowed. I have some extension in my right wrist, kind of pushing down into my left hand. And now I'm at a really good impact position, allowed all that lag to release, and then I can go ahead and release the club like I normally do. So that's kind of releasing all that lag. It's really important. Don't hold on to the lag, allow it to release. So let me try to incorporate all of what I just said and see if I can pull one and stick one here close to the pin. Well, I definitely hit it solid. Well, played it safe, middle of the green. All right, guys, so good luck working on that. Trying to hit your irons nice and pure every single time. Have fun, play well, and take care. Hey guys, so I hope you really enjoyed that video talking about how we can hit these irons really pure. So the last part I talked about is how we can release all that lag. So the straight line release video is an player. That's going to talk about how you can release. The harder you release the club, the more of that angle you're going to create with all that lag. And also going to teach you, I touched a little bit on it, and how to really release and get onto a good full follow through. So go ahead and click on that iCard. It's going to take you to the full version of that straight line release video. It's really important to do that. Then you get 5 free bonus videos on there as well. So have fun working on it. Hope you're playing well, and good luck.
Common misconception I see is that we want to create lag and we just want to hold that lag all the way on through contact and get as much lag as we can coming through contact, and that's simply not true. In the release section, we're going to talk about how to turn that lag into energy, how to turn that into speed so that you can hit it very far and do it, like we mentioned, without hardly any effort at all. And as we're coming through contact, we're going to fully release this angle as we're about 45 past contact. So if I draw, a 45-degree angle, I should be looking at both arms, nice and straight, the club splitting those arms. So that by releasing the club, by getting this angle to release as we're coming through contact, that's what's going to create the speed. Our hands are moving a very short distance, Our club is moving a very long distance through contact, and it creates that whip-like effect.
Very different swings, hitting the exact same position. So first, let's take a look at Dustin Johnson, releasing the club 45 past. And the reason we're going to see such different swings producing similar positions is that this is the real physics of how this has to happen. Here we're looking at Sergio Garcia. Again, we're going to see tons of